Your Minnesota Vikings could and should be looking to add their quarterback of the future this offseason. And if the quarterbacks in the draft are cost prohibitive, or if they're like, meh, didn't quite work out, the Vikings need to look into trading for Trey Lance. Yes, the former number 3 overall pick in 2021. The pride of Marshall, Minnesota. Yes. And of course, yesterday, in what seems like a coordinated effort, all of the rumors came on out that the Niners were fielding phone calls, and then Florio dropped that the Vikings and the Niners talked about Trey Lance at the Combine. So is it time? Is it time to bring the pride of Marshall, Minnesota, NDSU Bison home? Yes. It may be. It may just be. And even though it may make things a little bit awkward, don't really care. Do not really care at all. So here are 8 reasons why the Vikings need to trade for Trey Lance. Number 1, 22 years old. So this is funny. This is going to make us a hypocrite. We're talking about the age of Hendon Hooker, the age of Will Levis, etc. But Trey Lance is 22 years old, and he's had limited work in 2 NFL seasons. He's basically a college starter for 1 year, and then a season got taken away by the Rona. And with Trey Lance, like, he is still in the developmental stages, and I don't understand why people are just ready to crumple him up and throw him away. I think it's people live in a microwave society, and we should live in a crockpot society. We're just like, we want now. If a guy isn't Mahomes in year 1, then he's garbage. No, that's absolute nonsense, man. But Trey Lance is only 22 years old. He's 787 days younger than Hendon Hooker, so 2 years plus. He's 257 days younger than Will Levis, and Trey Lance still has all the potential in the world. Like, he's still a guy who's still learning. He's a guy who's still working on mechanics. He tightened up his release this offseason, working with Patrick Mahomes, working with some quarterback gurus as well, and is a guy who's not afraid to do the work. So I get why San Francisco is giving up on him, because they have Brock Purdy. They fell ass backwards into Brock Purdy, but it's not an indictment on Trey Lance. And I think teams around the league see that he still has a ton of potential, because, number 2, 263 NFL snaps. That's it. That's it. That's like 4 long games worth of NFL snaps. He had sparse work as a rookie, subbing in for Jimmy G. And then he won the starting job in 2022, but only went 2 games before he broke his ankle. It's not enough of a sample size to say, hey, this guy's a bust, this guy's whatever. And I'm not buying into, at training camp, the beat reporter said this, whatever. Again, this kid had 1 year of college experience. It was a phenomenal year. Don't get me wrong, but it's just way too premature just to say that he doesn't get it. This, that, or the other thing. Guess what? Young quarterbacks struggle in the National Football League. They do, right? And also, like, everyone is all up on Trevor Lawrence right now. Remember what he looked like as a rookie, and he was the number 1 overall pick that year. Reason number 3 why the Vikings should trade for Trey Lance: rare dual threat, where it's in vogue right now. Jalen Hurts just got paid as a dual threat quarterback. Lamar Jackson is trying to get paid. Josh Allen has some great mobility as well, but Trey Lance, he's got an accurate arm. He takes care of the football. 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His 1 year starting for the Bison, ran for 1,100 yards as well as 14 touchdowns in 2019, and he is a guy that's really would open up the playbook, where he does have a solid arm. He is accurate with the football. He can deliver a nice strike, and he's not going to just throw it up for grabs, as well as defenses have to account for his mobility. And that would greatly open things up for the Vikings. It would help out the offensive line. It would help out the running game, certainly. And it's not a spot where, the knock on Lamar, it's like, oh, well, would Jefferson want to play with him? Jefferson certainly would be okay with a guy who delivers the ball like Trey Lance. Next up, number 4. Highly coachable. So throughout the entire draft process, when he was at NDSU, when he was in high school, when he was with the San Francisco 49ers, there's always everyone raved about his work ethic and high football IQ. So he's a kid who was getting after it. He's a guy who puts in the work this offseason. Like I mentioned, he's working with Mahomes and whatnot. And it's not... whatever it was, like, as a rookie, he didn't overtake Jimmy G. That's fine. Second year, he broke his ankle before he had a chance to really show what he could do. That's fine. Like, his drawbacks so far in the NFL have nothing to do with work ethic, have more to do with him just being a rookie and jumping up from FCS to the NFL, and also a guy who really only played 1 year of college football. I mean, that's really about it. Next up, number 5. Low cost of acquisition. So the Niners, they already showed that they're out. Like, they're ready to fold. They have Brock Purdy, even though he's coming back from the UCL. And even though there is going to be some interest, I don't foresee a bidding war for Trey Lance at this stage. And I mean, Kevin O'Connell, or Kwesi, of course, goes way back like chiropractic with John Lynch. So I obviously don't see the Niners giving him away, but maybe we could work out a sweetheart deal between two old colleagues. And I don't even think that it would cost the Vikings a first-round pick. I just really don't. Like, if it's just a straight-up trade for Trey Lance, maybe the third? Maybe a conditional future second. Maybe that's about it. And for a guy who was the number 3 overall pick and a guy who's 22 years old, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Next up, number 6, Humbleness, where there could be a situation where the Vikings trade for Trey Lance and keep Kirk Cousins. Both those things can happen because Trey Lance is on his rookie deal. Even though he's a number 3 overall pick, it's certainly manageable for cap space-wise. And the Vikings, I mean, if they wanted to flip Kirk Cousins, they'd have to wait till after June 1st to do it. So if it is a spot where they bring in Trey Lance, they work on mechanics, they have him sit behind Kirk for a full year, and then he takes over in 2024, even though, yes, he would only have, technically 2 years left on his rookie deal because he'd have year 4 of his rookie contract as well as a potential 5th-year option. I'm okay with that. I would be okay with that because Kirk would give this team the best chance to win in 2023. And Trey Lance having a full year working with O'Connell and Wes Phillips and O'Hara would make a ton of sense. I think would do wonders for his game versus if he was just tossed out on the field before he was ready again. Next up, number 7, Minnesota connection. Yes, can't ignore it, right? So I would feel the same about Trey Lance if he was named Grabowski from DeKalb, Illinois. I would. I think that he's got that skill set. I think that he has rare abilities as a dual threat quarterback. And also, I think that he's a solid leader. I think that he's a great worker. I think he's a hell of a quarterback. And it's just a bonus on the top that he is from the pride of Marshall, Minnesota, although the Gophers didn't offer him. Good job, PJ. And when the Vikings and Niners had joint practices, Trey Lance was a rock star. Like, they brought in busloads of kids from his high school, Marshall, up to TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill. And at the end of the day, hey, this is a game. Yes, this is a sport, but also it's box office. It's entertainment. And having Trey Lance, local kid done good, on the roster, potentially taking over as starting quarterback, there's your next Minnesota kid story. I mean, we had Thielen, we have CJ Ham, we have Marcus Sherrills. Here's the next one. Trey Lance, and he has a chance to be a legit star in the National Football League at quarterback. And lastly, number 8, the upside is there. The upside is absolutely there. Like, we're not talking about a kid where if he pans out on his potential would be like a mid-level starting quarterback. We're talking about a guy who could be a star. Legitimately. Like, he was a number 3 overall pick for a reason, and there's a reason why the Niners, who supposedly have 2 very smart guys running that team, and John Lynch, who supposedly is one of the best GMs in the league, and Kyle Shanahan, who's supposedly a quarterback whisperer, they give up 3 1s and a third to go get Trey Lance. So the upside is certainly there, and if they're ready to give up on Trey Lance just because they backdoored into Brock Purdy, hey, that's our gain. Absolutely is. So Kwesi can pull off a deal for Trey Lance, whether it's to start him and then move Kirk after the June 1st, or just have him sit behind Kirk for a year and give him revved up, ready to go for 2024. I'm all good. I'm all good. So I think it's really obtuse to say he's a bust, we don't want him, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying give up 2 first-round picks for the kid. I'm talking about giving up a mid-rounder and taking a shot. You can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket, and Trey Lance has a lot of upside here, and potentially compared to the cost of moving up to getting one of the big 4 quarterbacks in this draft, makes a lot more sense. Really does, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. 8 reasons why the Vikings need to trade for Trey Lance. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.